Hi. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Lorley, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Isn't it nice outside?
I haven't actually been out. It looks beautiful.
And it's Friday. I'm not busy on my weekends yet, so I'm soaking them up, right?
Well, wait. If you're off, it'll rain. And if you have a client, it's going to be nice and sunny.
It's true, right?
It's so frustrating. It's incredible. It's always the same. Like this weekend, I think actually Chad's going to be off.
Oh, good, good. How was his fishing trip?
It was good. They didn't catch many fish. He had gone back the week before, just like some afternoons, and they
Right.
caught massive fish, like
Like,
20-inch trout, which is unheard of.
was it the mayfly?
Yeah. But for the weekend, they only caught one each, and he got like 8 that one night that he went down. So it
It's all
was,
about timing. Like when the mayfly's on, like everybody runs.
yeah.
And I guess it has to do with like the sun, the weather, the temperature, like it's all a science. So anyway, I have a fishing family, so
Oh, do you?
I know all about those, the mayfly and everything.
I'm from a fishing family too. My father, that's the one thing he did do. We grew up in Montreal, so there was no hunting. So it took me a while to get used to that in Nova Scotia.
It's true.
Everybody hunts here.
It's true. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Sherry, how's it going? Can you hear us? Hey.
Can you hear us, Sherry?
Huh.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, so you guys can hear me. For whatever reason, I can't hear you. I have this little device.
Go to your sounds, your speaker,
Yeah.
and it should open the sound settings. You see that?
Well, here, let me explain what's going on. So normally I can adjust my sound settings, which is fine, but I have this little kind of adapter box so I can plug in, like it's a hub that I can plug in a bunch of different things. So I only have to plug one thing into my laptop. And
Yeah.
when I have that plugged in, the sound just does not come through at all. And Dennis and I just had that experience. I didn't know what was going on there. So you're saying sound under settings?
Yeah, so if you just look at your speaker icon in the bottom right, you can right click it and then open sound settings. And then when you choose your device to output, just see what if you have a choice on what you can direct it to.
Yeah,
and just see what it's choosing. And if you have another choice, pick something different. See if that works.
Fair enough. All right, let me go back to this hub thing. And
this is the unskilled, how I taught myself way.
I fully appreciate that. All right, I'm going to plug this little hub back in and see if I can figure out my sound. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Keep going, because someone made me host.
I got a new buyer who's buying 2 houses today. And I got her because I had the most referrals on Ask Nova Scotia on April 25th. I didn't think I got the client, but she called me this morning and we're going to look at an $850,000 house tomorrow morning.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking of you. That's great.
Thank you. I got to send over all the agreements now today for them. And yeah, and then they're buying an investment property besides that. So I got to start looking for that for them. So.
That's a really awesome start. Like that's kind of
Isn't
like
it?
it's a benchmark, right? So that's really great. So I wish you all the luck. I mean,
Thank
to say if
you.
there's anything I can help with is kind of like, I'm just excited. I know how to use my Apple computer and be on this call and calendar. If there is anything I
Jen.
can help you with, that's fantastic. I wish you good
Oh,
luck.
thanks. I'm just like, oh,
You
so
should be.
exciting. That one like just seems easy. If they get a chance at it, it sounds easy because
Yeah.
it's a little higher bracket, right? Probably
Right.
not as I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's probably not as much of a bidding war in a house like that. Am
Yeah.
I right, Laura Lee?
No,
I
But
was hoping, damn it.
It'll still go fast though, probably, right? Like it's gonna
They've
go,
got the
right?
showings
So-
limited, so
going.
it's
If you-
Saturday morning till Sunday night, and the offers have to be in between 9 and 1 on Monday. So, yeah.
yeah, it's crazy on all prices. Actually, that high price has been wacky.
Really?
Yeah. Just go into the areas and see how much they went for over asking.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to show them what properties went for over asking. Over
Okay.
asking has been sort of
How do I do a search for what they went for over asking?
go into the sold price. So pull up. the-
Okay, and then I can look at the list price and sold price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you go into the realtor view, that will give
Yeah.
you the sold price. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's about a third the way down the page, but don't quote me on that. I learned last weekend. It's been a long time since I sold real estate. I was arguing with Chad's assistant. No, I have to sign the offer. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Mary, what are you doing? And it's like, oh God, I felt so like a fish out of water. It was incredible.
Honest
So-
to God.
But we got 150 over asking on a house that Chad said, I'll deal with it when I get back.
Right. That's 150 over asking, it's a lot.
It was kind of
Yep.
cool. I got to work with two agents that I haven't seen in a long time. So that's,
Well,
kind
that's cool.
yeah. And I just learned over last weekend, you guys have such an opportunity to talk about KW because, and that's all you have to do is, listen to them about, they probably are squawking about their office.
Mm-hmm.
What realtors do.
That's a really good point. I like that. Yeah.
I actually,
I was listening to this guy who's gone on his own, but when he, on a video last night, I just pulled up this video, how to sell 500 homes in a year or whatever. I was listening and all he talked about was his training in KW.
Yep.
That's what he was talking about. KW taught me this. KW taught me this. And this is where I learned. Now he left KW, but it was all, he's still doing everything he learned from KW, right?
running all his business through it.
Now, Laura Lee, I have a quick question. So when I was with Xerox, we had a why Xerox document, right? 'Cause
Can you
we're
hear us,
selling-
Sherry?
I can, thank you, Joanne.
Okay, good. Yeah. We had a why Xerox because why choose us? And it was a premium product, right? And it was more expensive, but the value was there. So it's the same thing, it's the same thing with this. Does KW have a why KW, why have them as a partner and why have them as say an agent and why have them such as to a client? Is there a document we can have where we can just, other than
There-
the agreements, anything, boom, boom, boom?
One of the things that is a little tough with KW is they actually have so much.
That's what yes.
And it's kind of hard. I would say 90% of the people you're talking to, you can talk about culture. And that is best to have the piece of paper that is the Y2Ts, which is, win-win or no deal, all that kind of stuff. I don't know it off by heart.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what we do, it's usually on the calendar about the third week, and it's called profit share club or something like that. And
I saw it.
basically what we do is we just, it's very, very informal. We just talk about what you can do when you're trying to increase your profit share line. And it's something that I know at the beginning, it kind of seems, oh, it's not much. It doesn't give you much. No, like we've been with KW 4 years, and it will give us, because we ran out of education fund after the first 3 went to university.
I can't
And we
even
were
imagine.
like, oh, kind of, and the 4th one is coming through, and he'll be in university a year and a half from now. Well, Chad's profit share is going to pay for university.
It's awesome.
So
Wow.
it's something, especially you're all young, right?
Oh,
I'm not young. She's young.
I know. I'm like, thank you for thinking that.
You guys are young. Awesome.
Everyone here is going to put at least 10 more years in, right? So 10
Okay.
years.
Unfortunately.
Well, and we were exactly the same. Honestly, with any other company you work for, you really, and we worked for like Remax and we worked for Exit, and I had some independence. You just put it in your head that you're going to retire when you die. Because real estate agents and independent people do not have retirement savings. Think of profit share as retirement savings. So in the group, we have 2 different goals. The first goal is for me to get you to $23,000 a year in your profit share. And why is that something that is a positive goal? Or why does that make it feel really good?
Because then you're making 100% all year round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, we
Covers your cap.
it covers everything. Well, you need $650 more. But yeah, as soon as you get to 23 means you're working for KW for free.
So we need 23,650.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
And we are very, very lucky. Like we had someone go to EXP. They'll be back. And he has profit share. He has 17 people on his line, but they're all from other offices. Our office is like for Chad has a lot less than 17, and he's looking at about 24 now, 25. So our office does extremely well. I'm sure you've seen some of the numbers at the meetings of what we're giving back. I think we gave $78,000 back last month. And that's stuff that you should get your piece of. We call it the unfair share, meaning what other company do you know that the owners give back 48% to their agents? And we are number 2 in Canada with this year. We're number 1 2 years ago, but 2 Toronto offices joined, and it was like, oh, so we missed by $3,000, which is nothing, right? So we are up there in the same league as the big guys in Toronto. And we have to do obviously a whole lot more work every month to get to those numbers because we have a much lower price range. Now we may not next year. And all I see is if we ever catch up with Toronto's prices, we're going to be laughing because we are doing it at our price point, not their price point, which is impressive. So make it like you just make it part of your business plan. So when we're talking about what do you have planned down, put 15 minutes in a month. And when we get to that part today, I'll tell you what you should do for those 15 minutes. Super easy. You're not selling KW at all. You just say why you like it and let them complain about their company. Then you're going to call me and say, I'm sending this person down to you. This is what they're frustrated with. And then I fill the gaps. So if they're really frustrated, like one of the big things that seems to be happening again is all other companies, when you get paid, can take up to 3-4 weeks to get paid. Most of the time, the lawyers are being painfully slow with this shutdown. So they're putting it in the mail, or they'll only see a courier once, like 3 days a week or something like that. So it's a little slower, but we normally get paid on closing day. So that's one of the big yays in our company. But let me tell you, and I'll just do it now since I'm thinking about it, but think about if you make that phone call to say thank you to the other agent when you get your check. And the first thing you say is, hey, I got my check. It reminded me that I should have called you to say thank you. It was fabulous working with you, and just start the conversation. All you're doing is building relationships with other agents. That's going to be good for your business because a deal will go much better if you have a relationship with the other agent. The only thing they hear from that point on is you got your check. And they're
I
thinking,
think that, Lorley, I think that if you're passionate about what you do and where you are, you want to share that with other people. So I think that if you feel that, like, and I know the people on this call, there's no doubt in my mind that they won't not only do it for the money, but to share that positive experience with somebody else, right? Like they're all wonderful people. So
yeah,
become who you are, right?
you're changing people's lives. Like, I don't know how many times we've said, God, we wish 25 years ago KW was here, because this would have been a totally, totally different life for us. It's changed our life in only 4 years. And we've never been taught 90% of the stuff that we were taught. Like, I don't know if Chad ever told you about the time that he went to Toronto to do a leverage series. And we went together. It was like a vacation for us, I guess. But I asked him, I said, what were your goals? And he said, not to work nights or weekends. And I thought, okay. And then I said, what else? He says, I know I have to go back and change absolutely everything we've done with our team for the past 15 years. He says, because we have made every mistake that they told me is a mistake. And I thought, yeah, that's typically what I hear when we even bring in teams. So it's nice to see. And it's really easy. Like, you just tell them what you like. And there are always gaps. Culture is the biggest gap everywhere else, because understand that this is not normal for all agents to work together and help each other. Those horror stories you've heard about real estate where it's dog eat dog and competitive and everyone going after each other's stuff, it just doesn't happen in KW. If it happens in KW, you're getting the happy talk, and then basically what the happy talk is, you'll be happier at a different company. And we don't have any issues doing it. I hate doing it. Jerry doesn't like doing it either. And we don't have to do it very often because most agents are here because of the culture. You want to feel cared for, respected, and you want a happy place to be able to do your business, not some place that always has all kinds of drama. And that's usually what you get. You've all worked in offices where you walk in every morning going, oh, don't know if I'll be able to put up with that person all day today, right? And that just doesn't happen. If it does, you definitely come right to myself or anybody actually in leadership and talk to them. Okay.
Great to hear
That's
these
brilliant.
It is.
Yeah.
And you'll see when the office finally opens, it is what happens. And a little bit of it is because think of anybody that has profit share. The day you guys walked in, they look at you like more profit for the office. And so they want you to succeed at your highest level. Everywhere else, when you walk in the office, it's like, oh, look at that competition. There's more competition. And it's like, that doesn't happen here because we all worked together to help each other improve, basically, and get the profit share side of it. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Felt like a system test. Anybody else?
And I apologize. Oh, how pretty.
Oh,
Oh, I should have had my granddaughter on there.
oh.
Everyone just pray all together. The one thing I won't open it like a regular thing, because when I do, it won't move for me. We don't know why, but it's not moving. So we'll just do it this way. So how are you guys enjoying Ignite?
Honestly, I'm so busy, I can't absorb it. I'm feeling overwhelmed with the education, and I think it was way too soon for me. I don't know about how other people feel, but I feel like I got to go back over it from step one, and I'm glad it's videotaped so that I can
And
go
this-
through step by step, right?
And this is something that will be coming up over and over and over again. Usually we try
Right.
to do it 3 times a year. Now it's
Okay.
very cool because regional and international is going to be putting some out. I tell people to take it all the time. What's very cool is we have Ignite 2 happening right now through regional, and the people that are actually in it are experienced agents. So this never changes. This is
Right.
how you run your business. So every time you do it, you're going to get more and more out of it. Same with Bold. When Bold starts up again, that's one that I usually say 6 months at least in, because this is very, very normal with KW to feel like you're getting hit with a fire hose. Okay. The way I explain to people about this, just be thankful the water's coming out of the hose, because other companies, there's no water. And so we sort of have to say, yes, it is overwhelming, and your coach will tell you, stop learning, go do. Okay.
Yeah, he has said that. He
Okay.
has said, Joanne, he said, just back off some of the training and do. And now I've been doing some of that. Like I had to miss a session this week, and now I'm working on a few deals, right? So I'm happy I listened to him. So
Yeah. No, and that's what you have to do. And that's all through your business. Don't forget, you are going to train, and KW doesn't stop your training as soon as you start learning how to do real estate, because
Right.
then there's something else to teach you. There's leverage, and then there's teamwork. There's all kinds of different things that will come up after that you're going to implement into your business. And the learning never stops. But I will totally agree that the first little while is very, very intense. But it is intense anytime someone gets into real estate. I remember being a little opposite of you guys. I got my license on a Friday, and I had a person listing with me at 11 o'clock or something like that on Saturday. I had no idea what I was doing. I had done some new construction in Montreal, but that was it. And my broker said, absolutely no problem. That's fantastic, Laura. I'll meet you at the office at 9. I said, great. I'm thinking he's sitting down telling me what to do, what to say, what we get basically. And he was locking the door of the office when I got there, I got there a little bit early even. And he handed me the listing papers and he said, yeah, fill these out. That was it. And that's how I started. I got the listing, believe it or not. And thinking back now, I had no idea what I was doing. So those days that you feel, I have no idea what I'm doing, that's normal. Okay. And you'll see, take Ignite in a year and you'll be sitting there going, oh, I've got this stuff. I'm doing this. You're putting things into place, and you will learn something completely different the next time. Okay, this sheet should be, I think, is in your book.
Laura Lee, so, I've been around for a little while. I've been in real estate for a while, but not so long with KW, but I never did Ignite before. And I'm sticking my head in there a couple of times, picked up a few of the Ignites and picking up some great gems. And the other thing is it keeps your head in the game, just keeps your head in the game. If you keep having that reinforcement and that positive attitude thrown at you, then you can, you can really keep your head in the game.
Exactly.
And you need to do that. And it's things that are repeated that you already knew, but you've forgotten and you forgot to practice. And so coming back to it is great.
Yeah, and you do that. Like you get very complacent, or you may get busy and you start doing your busy work. And then all of a sudden you go to a course and it totally changes your view of what you're going to be doing in your business. And it brings you back to the basics. And it's always super, super important to get back to the basics, always. And you'll see with something like Bold shoves you back into the basics. It's kind of like, you are here, back into the basics. But the more agents, the newer agents are often the ones that are using their systems and following their systems and doing their daily tasks. And you'll look at some of the experienced agents, they're doing super well, but they're going to be on that roller coaster, because if they're not doing their tasks every day, because let's be honest, it's a whole lot nicer to go out and list a property than call 10 people, right? but you still have to do it. You want to take your business to wherever you want to do it, block in that 1-2 hours a day to lead gen. And if you do that, your business will go to anywhere you want, because I can tell you 95% of the agents do not do it. Okay, so get that right at the beginning and get that habit form that every day I open my command and I do my lead gen. Okay. Someone asked me for the lead gen ideas. I don't remember who it was. Oh. Anyway, I looked for my set. I'm going to keep looking this weekend.
Hey, Laura Lee, it was Dennis, and I did find them. They're actually on, yeah, they're on Collins G Drive.
Okay, perfect.
And there's a list of like over 100, I think, but I forwarded them off to him. They're kind of neat. So lots of great things with Colin. I mean, he's fantastic. Check on there.
I couldn't find them right away because I packed up quite a bit of my paperwork, and I phoned Colin and I said, you have that list of 19 different lead gens? He goes, my list has over 50. I said, perfect. Want to send it to me? So that was at the meeting this morning. So if you've got it, that's fabulous. And go through it. Like, figure out what 3 things you do fantastic and you love doing, because you will do 10 times better doing something you like than doing something that you're forcing yourself to do. At the beginning, I would say try all of them, because I don't think you'd know what you like. Like, you may be door knocking experts. I'm not, but I did try it. So yeah, you just get into your groove and get into your habits. So this 10/4 sheet, you should have this in your booklet. You can even do this on a spreadsheet on your computer, and you just open a new sheet every day and keep them.
Colin actually gave us a sheet on our scorecard, and it's part of our 10/4 as a part of that scorecard. So that's where I use mine.
Perfect. And keep them, because you'll be able to go back with them with the names and all that different stuff, and follow up on them. So one from 2, 3, 4, 5 months ago, you can use again and reach out to those people again. Okay. Tricks to getting your 10 contacts added. Get a thing of cookies. We used to go to Mrs. P's and get shortbread and have a plate. You want to put 10 people on your contact list, go to a company that has more than 10 people and put the cookies down and say, would I be able to get a list of your employees or their cards? And you tell them that if they have any questions about real estate or anything, I'm here. Here are my cards. So you've given out. Like, I went into one company almost once a month because they love getting my cookies. But they had like 150 agents, and she would just get 25 of them ready for me for when I brought in more cookies. We've done it with mints, those white mints, put them in a jar, make a little label for it with your name on it, put a little string on it with your cards, and then just ask for the cards in the companies. All of a sudden, you're adding 25 new people to your contacts. You can put them on to a smart plan, design a really easy, maybe 4-week smart plan. And you're going back in about 4 weeks. But the first one would be like, hey, I dropped off some cookies at your office. If my cards are at the front desk, feel free to grab one if you call me if you have any questions about real estate. Then the next one could be, here is a flyer on how to look at houses when you're going through open houses. And you just send things out to the people that you got the cards for. And the office loves giving you their cards, because no one ever brings cookies into an office. And when they do, they're happy to see them. I did it with that place that you get your oil done. And I would just hand them, because you don't get out of your car for that. So I'd undo my window and hand the guys the thing of cookies with the cards. And I said, can you send out your cards before I go through? And I'd have all their cards. And every time I got my oil done, which Chad started doing my oil, it was like, you're useless. I was actually doing something here. I think you were shocked I was actually getting my oil changed, because before I moved to Nova Scotia, I didn't know I had to do that. I'm assuming they just did it when I brought my cars in. So yeah, there's all kinds of different things that you can do, and start every time you're in a course or anything like that. What I would do is get some sort of notebook that are your aha books, and it's just putting ideas down. So like if you're in a course, Glenn McQueenie wrote, it comes in and does some courses on picking up sellers for us. And every time he comes, I fill a page of my notebook with ideas of what to do in my business. And it's great, because if you're sitting there one day and you're just not sure what you want to do that day, or you're sort of at a loss of where to go next, read your book. And it's amazing what will come back and give you some ideas. Same thing with family reunion, or like I filled a book at family reunion for Chad. So I had my notes for my job, and then I had a whole book of notes for Chad of what he could do with our team. And it's really, really easy to go back and put some of those into place. Some of them may not work for you, but if you're not doing anything, you may as well try something. And if it does work, great, right? Never worry about, making a mistake or that didn't work for me. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. Okay. Okay. So, how are people doing with adding contacts to their contact management? Good.
Yeah.
That means you have one, Jen, or you're doing
Yeah,
good, or I have one contact.
I have one contact, and I'm gonna start that. I have my list. I'm all ready to roll. I do want to find out about my KW app, mobile app, before I start calling people. So I'm going to be learning about that this weekend, and, lining myself up to call for Tuesday. Didn't realize the stuff involved prior to, but I have done the commands, learning on how to add a contact. So, and I'm going to tag them, smart plan them, everyone I call. So that starts next week, but just getting my foundation. But it's been, like you said, fantastic. Lots of opportunities to learn, for sure.
You're probably one that your coach should be saying, go do, because I think you're more of a perfectionist and waiting for everything to be perfect.
Yeah, he did. He said, definitely have your list of, and the other people, like, first he said, have a list of 100. And then I was encouraged by these guys on the team. And also Colin said, yeah, like, make a list of 10 and just get started.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to be happening. And I'm going to do my website this weekend into Monday. And so it's great. I'm excited to call.
Oh, good. That's nice. Who here has their app up and running and have shared it? Okay. This is a big win, guys. This is something that is going to be really good. Anyone
You know what? I don't get good success with it. People say, yep, they'll install it, and I go to command and they haven't done it.
So what happens is, Joanne, is what I've been finding is they download it, but they don't register. And if they don't register, you don't know it. So, so they have to register. So now all the emails or Facebook messages I've sent out, I'm now putting in there, please download this, register. I already have your contact information, because these are friends of mine, right? Like, I already have your contact information. Just register for me. This is like this is like an electronic business card, is how I explain it.
Yeah.
And then, since I can't get to you right now, if you know anybody that's looking or whatever, share it with them and tell them to register. Then I can get the information. I'm trying to get other people's information through people I know. So yeah, that's the biggest issue. They download it. I don't know. Oh, I've downloaded it. Well, you didn't register.
Oh, they download it and they use it. And the first time you're going to know is when they press, I want to see this house.
Yeah, then they need to register, because I want them to share it more.
So maybe they have it, but they haven't registered. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they have it. They didn't register. Okay. So you don't know. If they don't register, you wouldn't know about it.
Gotcha.
I would do the same thing. Create a smart plan. There's all kinds of them. Steal one from someone else after you've asked them to download your app. The first one that goes out is, are you enjoying the app? And then that usually jogs their brain to download it if they forgot. And then like the next one would be, how are you finding this? Did you register in your app so I can, put you into our systems, stuff like that. So you can actually reach out more and more to everybody. You're giving yourself reasons to reach out. Okay. And the app is one thing. Like, I really didn't think too many people were using my app until I got the phone calls. I want to see this house, or the text. I want to see this house. And don't limit it to people that are in this area. Go everywhere. I would suggest, since all of us, I'll be at home this weekend, watch a Netflix movie and take your phone and send it out to everybody in your phone. Even if you don't know who they are, you're still going to work with them if they text you. Yep.
And you can put it in your phone, like just like that. I have in my phone, I have my notes. I have an iPhone, so it's in my notes section. I have the link in there, but I have a little script already created. Copy and paste it right into my Facebook Messenger, because I have more people on Facebook.
Oh, that's a great idea, Dennis.
I don't have their phone numbers. So I was doing that, but I only had one, which I knew would do it. The rest of them, no one done it. So now I got to go back out, right? Or figure out a smart plan.
Yeah. And you have to remind people more than once. What I used to do in open houses, super easy. They're standing right beside you, especially if they're a little older. Say, would you like me to download this for you? And all they're doing is you text it to them and you press the button to download and tell them to register when they get home and start using your app. I made a sort of like on the counter in the kitchen that just explained the app, and everybody would come over and read it. Everybody. And it was just like, here, give me your phone number and I'll send you the app. And they are thrilled. And it's not hard to use, which is great. Okay, so filling this out keeps you on track of what you're doing. Okay, it will definitely show you month over month when you start falling down. I'm pretty sure Collins is probably a little bit more intense than this. Mine is definitely, because I have 9 different things across the top. But I would be adding in smart plans and different things to get used to your smart plan. Go into the library of smart plans and don't reinvent the wheel. They're hard to sit there. Your brain is going to just roll trying to make up your own, but just put into the search like open houses or anything, meeting a buyer for the first time, different things like that. The smart plans are there, and start putting in your smart plans as well. Okay. And with anything that you're doing, make sure if you're having trouble with it, don't get frustrated and keep trying. Reach out to someone for help. So, you can email Erin and she'll get back to you right away with how to do it, or a video if you're not sure on how to do something, or she'll reach out and help you with it. That's her job. So use her. Okay. So contacts is your first thing. Has anyone sent out note cards at all? Okay.
I actually just sent out a bunch of note cards, and I got really good feedback. Like I got some of my friends' parents and stuff, they weren't follow-up note cards. Like the script kind of lays out the follow-up, but I just did how are you doing during this, new wave, thinking of you, blah, blah, just stuff like that. And I've got a lot of people messaging me being like, oh, I got your card. Or one of them emailed me, which I didn't have her information. So I got her information because she contacted me. So I found those actually really good. So I've been doing more of them since I've been getting back the response. So I just got Amazon, a hello package. There was 48 or something. And it was awesome. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you if you're doing the QR codes, but you got it from Amazon, so you didn't do the QR on that one?
No, so the Amazon, it's a hello card, and then it comes with an envelope because you're going to send it in the mail. So I just stick my little QR, my postcard in the envelope because it fits. And so then they have that as well. So I am sending those as well, just in the envelope at the back.
That's great. How's that working for you?
Really good.
Not just scanning your app, right?
It's actually scanning to my website.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what's a QR? A thing?
It's like when you open your phone camera, you know, like when you go to a restaurant before they shut down, like a lot of the menus, you have to scan a QR code to get to
Yeah,
the
okay, right.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like you open your phone and it just brings up the little website and you click on it and go. So you don't have to type it in or anything. And it's like, I've got a lot of people saying like, oh, I really like that feature. And they'd be like, I went right to your website. So I'm like, well, that's good.
So if you have Google Chrome, and Laura Lee, if you'd be able to go to your Google Chrome for a second, if you wouldn't mind.
I just went to a website. It just said Google or QR generator. And it just took me to a website, even if you don't have Google Chrome.
Yeah, if you go to, yeah, that's true too. But if you have Google Chrome, it's nice and easy, because just type, well, even go back for a second. Yeah, okay. So click in the box up there, Laura Lee. Just cancel. That's fine. You don't need to leave the site. I can see where it is. So just click in the box up there in your search box. Up, someone help me here.
In the browser.
The browser, thank you, Lord Jesus. Just click in the browser.
I just,
Literally, yeah, right there. And then
then
on the right-hand side, there's a, nope.
No, just click the browser. You don't need to type anything. Stay where you are. You don't have to get out of anything. So now you have to bring up what was there. Just click the Ignite logo for a
do
second.
it my old fashioned way. Just a second.
Yeah.
Where's my Google?
I don't, just click in the box up there. Just click in there.
Now
That's
don't
it.
do anything. Now go to the side.
No, it's not there. See, because she's not on the
Oh, because you exited it.
website. You need to get on a website.
Oh, I know. Just a second. Give me. No. I'll do it my way. I set up this computer and it works for me. My kids hate it.
So if you just click back up in your website browser itself,
Yep.
or I don't know, I guess you got to go to website. Oh no, there it is. Go over to your far right. You'll see a little square. Right there. Yep. Oh.
It's a square with 4 squares. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that one. There's your QR. So what you would do is you would copy that if this is where you want to direct the people to.
Or hit download.
Right, or hit the download, right? And then this is how you get your QR code, and you can put that onto postcards like Rachel did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so when I made my postcard, I just downloaded that image and put it on my postcard.
Perfect.
Yeah, super easy.
And that would work for your app or for your.
I think it should. I don't see why it wouldn't. I just wasn't sure, so I just used my website because that's what I was kind of working on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, your website's
That's
great.
new for me. You can tell that I have someone doing this for me.
Well, it's nice that there's a
Dave,
resurgence within the restaurant industry for scanning QR codes, because QR codes were around a while ago and then kind of fell out of favor. And
Well,
now
yeah,
because they're
Blackberries.
right. So now that they're kind of back in favor again, because it's all hands-off stuff, there's been a really cool resurgence of using that. So that's an awesome use of tech, Rach. That's amazing.
I just got another text being like, oh, I just got your card. So it's working pretty well. Just people just checking in on people.
Nice.
Well, listen, I asked the question and then I got a knock at the door. You went up to the website and where did you hit to get the QR code? I'm so sorry. Like
you click the browser with Google Chrome.
Yeah.
And then right there, there's 4 little, and then click it once, just click it and then.
That's great. Okay, great.
And you downloads. So that's it.
So you guys took that and designs, did like a postcard to put in the.
Yeah. And why do you think like a lot of people say, oh, writing out cards is so old fashioned. Why do you think they're so successful? And honestly, they're one of the best things.
Oh, because like immediately, like who wants to get a bill in the mail? Nobody. But when you get like a birthday card or any kind of card, anything that's not a bill, you're like, oh, sweet. Because that was another thing people said. They're like, oh, I love getting mail. I just don't like getting bills. Like, exactly.
You get to your little green box, you sort of get back in your car and you sort of fan through the mail. Everything but a card would go on the seat to bring home. Like, I really don't need to open bills right now. And magazines, you get garbage in mail now, basically. It's very abnormal to get a card. That's why they say stick with cards for Christmas as well. And then stick with cards for just the little things like, thank God it's spring. You find these cards and you just get used to anytime you're in a store. go and look for their stationery department and buy cards that would work for anything. We have a box of all kinds of different cards. It's not easy, Dennis, for men to find note cards because they're very feminine, like they have flowers on them and stuff like that. So one of Chad's clients is very artistic, and she was here. She was from New Jersey. They're in California now. But they come here every summer when it's not COVID, and she takes pictures around Nova Scotia. And every time he gets boxes of cards, because we had said to her, and she put something about Nova Scotia on it. And they are very cool. We laughed because she made some cards, and I thought, wow, that looks really familiar. It was just a picture with a nice window in it with the sun coming off of it. It was our office. She was walking down, and that to me was a little creepy. It was kind of like, check that out, it's our office. So he said, send me more of those, please. Because if you do look for stationery, it is very feminine. So anytime you can find something like the hello would be great. As you know, most of the hellos, it just says hello on it.
Yeah, there's like 5 different designs or 6 different designs, and they just say hello and then blank on the inside. Because I didn't want to get a thank you card because I wasn't really thanking them yet. Like I was just saying hello, like checking in.
Exactly. So you can get, people that bought a house from you. That's a good thing to put in on closing day. Throw it in the mail, and a couple of days later in their new mailbox, they get a congratulations. People that have crickets can actually make these and personalize them to yourself, and you can make like a card with a cutout type thing with maybe a house on it or something. But anytime you're in a store, just look and buy them on sale. Like after Christmas, stationery is really on sale all the time. Home Sense always has some, but feminine type. So you just pick them up anytime you can, and then go to Costco for your stamps because they're only $89 for 100 stamps. So you save $11, $12. So, and then you have the stamps because, and everyone will do this. Buy your stamps before you actually do the cards, because the cards will be written and they take time, and then you're going to throw them on the seat in your car. And about a month later, 2 months later, a year later, you're going to find the cards and you have no idea what you wrote. So it's going to look really stupid if it's like, oh, spring is here and you're sending to them, in the end of the summer. So buy your stamps first so that you can just take them and throw them in your mailbox. Okay. This is something, and I'm not seeing it on the slides here. This slide deck is different than the one. Oh, it is here. Perfect. This is your life now. So basically, if you want a 100% guaranteed business, fill your funnel. And if you can see, your leads have to be much bigger than what's coming out the bottom. As you get more and more and more successful in the business, there'll be more drops coming out of your funnel. So the hole will be a little bit bigger, but you will get the paychecks just by adding leads. It's not rocket science. In, out, in, out. But it takes at the beginning a lot more leads than money start up. Okay, so get massively in tune with doing your lead generation, because the more you can put in the top of this funnel, the more money comes out the bottom. And you're going to see when you're doing your stuff for business planning for next year, when you have an idea of what you have to do and where you want to go and how much you want to make, or what your life looks like, and we'll put a number figure on it. But it comes right down to how many leads, how many appointments you have to have for this amount of money. And it is a formula. It's super easy. You're going to know your conversion rates year after year. So you may say, okay, I'm going to 3 listing appointments and I get 1 listing. Then the next year you may see with your opportunities that, okay, I now have, when I do 4 listing appointments, I'm getting 2. And then as you go on, you could go to less appointments. That doesn't make sense to me. I would continue your appointments at the same rate, but your conversion rate will change to 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4. Working your sphere increases your conversion rate with anything, because if you're going to see somebody that your mom or your a good client sent you the referral, you're already halfway there, because they already know who you are because they've told you all about them, or you know all about them. They all know all about you. They know you, they like you because their buddy liked you already, or they're, you know, right at the top of, I think I like this person, let me just meet them. And then they trust you because you're their friend, or the person that they got the referral from trusts you to do this. And that's why it's so important. Best time to write to your clients is as soon as they close the house. Within the first 3 weeks, you start hearing things that went wrong with the house. Not a good time to ask for business. Okay, so you hit your golden times. One of the golden times is that day that you close. They're super, super excited, and really nothing is going to bring them down. So you going in at that point and saying, well, if you were really happy, I would love the, you know, the best compliment you can pay me is send me to your friends. And it just rose like that. Did she fall asleep, or is she just so good? It's better when you're not on the screen. It's so much better when you're not on my screen, because we better be open soon, everybody.
The last couple days.
Oh yeah, they go
I'm
through
trying to put
that.
her down to cry, so I can't really do any work right now without her.
Oh, you'll get used to working around her.
Oh, I have, but just it's more so the last few days.
Yeah, yeah, they get like that sometimes. They go through years like that, actually. Okay, so we don't have the video, but this is on a day in the life of a mega agent. It's only 10 minutes long. Go on to command and just look for it, or connect and look for it. Okay. Okay, I want you to give me some ideas of what you learned from Ignite that you're putting into practice, or from your coach, because he'd be teaching the same type of things. So can everyone give me at least one thing that they picked up and they've implemented it? Dennis?
Don't ask me yet. I was looking at my phone.
I've got my lead generation down. I've got, which is doing really well. I've got 38 leads this week from it. So that's not turning, they're not secured yet, but at least I'm seeing generation come in. So I'm happy with that.
Facebook ads?
No, it's an exclusive postal code thing that I've bought. So I'm spending big money, about 15,000 a year on it. But it's given me postal codes for all of Fall River, all of Bedford, Clayton Park and Halifax South, and Hammonds Plains. And I own those postal codes for the Google now. So anyway.
What system, if you don't mind me asking, are you using?
It's Newage.
Okay, so there's quite a few of these systems out there, guys. And if it's something that, you know, you're moving towards.
Has a really cool CRM, and it collects all your data. So you're getting email, phone number, and what they're looking for right away. Or if it's a lead, you get the address, and we do, it's an automated home value. And then I come right back with, let me do your home value, because it's never right, the automated one. And I'm hoping I got one seller from it at least. So
excellent. So there's quite a few companies like this, guys. There's one called Commissions Inc. There's another one called Market Leader, another one called Brivia. And
Agent Locator has been popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's expensive though. Really expensive. So Brivia.
I think mine's more expensive than that.
Okay. So this is something that you can go towards. However, my suggestion is we have a few agents on Commissions Inc. and they're paying about $80 per lead. That comes to fruition. We know that they're coming to fruition at $1.25 on Facebook through Command. So obviously when you're starting out, not everyone is going to say, I'm going to put $15,000 this year into a generation system. Definitely try the stuff, or show up at training, because you can actually win dollar ads. Chad and his team put in $60 of ads on 5 listings, I do believe. And of course, it was the fishing weekend that he put it on. And honestly, the phone went ding every 10 minutes with a new lead.
Awesome.
So I think they got something like 79 leads over the 4 different listings. Not all of them come to fruition, but if you're really good at throwing a smart plan on the lead, really it took you 2 minutes to take the lead, put on a smart plan and let them go with it. And then anything that funnels down to you is there. The only thing is you have to be really good at getting back to them, because if they're filling out your lead gen thing, they're filling out someone else's. And right now speed is the game. Whoever gets to them first. Okay. So it is a way of certainly good for lead gen, putting these people contacting you, have those leads to be able to work with. If you want to ask people on the Facebook page if it's okay to advertise their properties if you don't have a listing yet. The only thing is you have to be careful with the agency side of it. So they'll fill out. And obviously when we can get back to open houses, that's another big lead gen for our new agents. You do open houses at any of the houses that are around. And I was just speaking with Chad's team when I was working. We are very much, how can I put this? Not moving fast enough for this stuff right now. And right now, everyone, because they're busy, is sitting back, but somebody out there is pulling in leads. What I've seen lately is the mentors are really happy if you're helping them. So if your mentor has a new listing or has some buyers, or, put an ad out, are you looking for a house in this crazy market? Get a little, go in and look for different things that you can just put an ad out there for $10. Okay. Good. So what is your big, you've already, Rachel, you've already talked about your cards. So is that one of your big ones right now? Yeah. They're great, guys. And I can't say anymore. There is a company called Send Out Cards that do it for you. But honestly, for the time and the price.
The point is that it's got to be personal, though. Like you have to know that you write it yourself and like handwritten.
Well, these were actually quite funny. It takes forever to get it all set up because you actually have to write your handwriting on their system. So it looks like it's your handwriting. But it's hard to get it right. Like I realized how bad my handwriting was when I got my first card. It was like, oh, I can write better than that. So yeah, you have to get it moving, but don't forget, it's better. Obviously doing it yourself is much better. You can get really, really particular about stuff. Go onto Facebook. If you don't know what to say in the card, go onto their Facebook and check out what they're doing. And then it's like, oh, cool. You guys got new 4-wheelers. Are you enjoying it? Ask them a question. What are they going to do? They're going to call and say, thank you for the card. And they're going to ask the question that you asked about them. Right? So you're starting the wheels moving and the contacts getting kind of going back and forth, basically. So Jen, have you got an aha?
A lot of them, I guess, would be for me again, having the ability to go to the trainings to set like a good foundation to begin, and to gain an understanding before just every other job I've ever done, I was thrown in there, right? And so I was a duck on top and my feet were doing this underneath. So that's going to happen regardless. Yep. But my aha was, I really feel that I'm ready and that I have my list and my first contact in, and I know the business will come. I just don't want to, and Ignite came at a great time for me because it was the first day I started. Unlike Joanne, right? You were here for a bit and then you got busy and then Ignite. So timing was good. That was also a good thing for me for all the training.
Excellent. I loved your picture yesterday, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I had my pictures set to go at Umlaw Studios, and then that was going to get closed. So I reached out to a great friend and it worked out great. And he got me in like that night before it got 2 days before it got shut down. So it worked out. Thank you.
You're gorgeous.
I know, it's beautiful. Sherry?
Yes, you're looking for my aha from
Yes,
Ignite.
you picked up that you think is going to be good in your business.
Oh gosh, the list goes on and on. I think command is literally going to be command central for me in terms of how I'm going to run this business, how I'm going to monitor, control it, measure it. Like just, I think command is going to be probably my biggest supporter of my business. And if I manage that CRM well, then I think that that's going to take me a long way. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to wrestle it to the ground. And I got some really great input yesterday from Gilles and Phil on who to watch in terms of command videos to understand the insides of it. I've done a lot of overview stuff of command, but now I'm really almost demanding that I get more detailed information on how to do particular things.
Yep.
And that to me is probably the biggest one, because all roads seem to lead through command, whether it's social media, whether it's, handwritten notes, email reminders, or like task reminders. Everything seems to funnel through command. So that to me was probably the biggest aha that led to a pile of other ahas that go with it.
Perfect. Sounds good. Marianne, did you hear that? I don't know. Marianne, are you still here? I think you're muted.
Yes, I'm still here. Yes, I did. I don't know what, I'm picking up all kinds of things and great ideas. And I said to my husband, I've got a ton of closings before the end of the month. I mean, a ton. I get 10
Awesome.
from today until the end of the month.
Congratulations.
That's a
Wow.
busy time, but I'm trying to stick in those continual, I can sit and I can listen. I'm sorry, I'm doing something else. That's why I don't have the video on. I'm doing a listing, but my husband said, "What are you doing differently?" I said, "I'm not sure, but it's working." And part of it's attitude. It's attitude. And the more you listen to these sessions, the more confident you feel. And I've been in it for a long time, but the more confident you feel when you go out, more self-assured about what you're doing, that you're doing it right. So I will continue to pick up the training sessions wherever I can, just as that reinforcement.
So Marianne, tell everybody how long you've been in the business.
Since 2006.
And
I came into KW. When did I come into KW?
About 3 years ago.
3 years, about 3 years, yeah.
Yeah. And what happened to the business since, with you using what you're learning?
I had a bad year last year, and it was, I think it was attitude. One was COVID. I was a little bit nervous of it, and I pulled back and decided I wasn't going to push my business. I was just a little nervous. When January came, I decided COVID's not going away, so I better get my act together. And that's it. And then I just started and pushing. Put up, which I didn't before, a Facebook business page, and put on it. There's all kinds of material you can put on it, from NSAR and from all kinds of sources. If they're made public, you can use them. So anything real estate related. And I put on it maybe 3 times a week. I put something else on. It could be something in decorating. It could be in a home that I have listed. I really found it's getting a lot of response. And I sent it out to almost all my contacts to say, like my page. And it just sort of rejuvenates these people to say, oh, look what she's doing. She's active, she's busy, she's, people want to work with busy people, right?
It's so impressive to see what the people in Sydney have done. I was in the job for about a week, and we ended up very quickly opening an office in Sydney. The agents up there, if you ever have someone for Sydney, each and every one of them are fantastic. Marianne is fantastic with her clients. We get nothing but very positive feedback, and she'll move farther out of Sydney than the rest will. So if you have someone somewhere else, Marianne's the person to go to. The cool thing about them is they're working very well together. And I'm seeing this with the people that were in Wednesday nights. And you will actually have this moving you along. the very first time I drove up to Sydney to meet them, because we opened it without even meeting these people, believe it or not. And when I went up there, I thought, oh God, the 4 hours on the island, I have not seen one KW sign. And Marianne, what's it like now?
People getting to know. Nobody knew who Keller Williams was when we started that office, and now everyone knows we're the biggest in the world because we keep telling them we're the best, biggest, we're the best. And
when you drive up, it's shocking to see. Like I would say, more than 75% of the signs are KW, and we're just everywhere. And now I was very impressed. I had a man call me who's thinking of getting his license. He's from Sydney. And I said, how did you get my name? And he said, to be honest with you, he says, I looked through all the different companies and you have the best agents in Sydney. And I thought, we do.
That's nice.
Yeah, very nice. So it's really, really taken off. That's what everyone working together and bringing the level up is really, really.
And we've got new agents in the office and I haven't even seen them yet. I've talked to a few of them on the phone, but I haven't met them yet. So that's kind of exciting. And it's a younger group. I'm older, guys. In case you haven't seen my picture. I've been around for a while.
She's older.
Experienced.
And, but I'm anxious to meet those people because what I've experienced with them so far on the phone, they've got the right KW attitude.
Yeah. And we have a lot of really nice people who have just come in, like Marianne. These agents here are fabulous. It's amazing how they've taken off. They're all within the month. Well, Rachel, you're about a month and a half, aren't you? 2 months? But other than that, it's all this.
I'm like 3 months now.
Yeah, me too.
3 months already?
Rachel and I came both now.
Yeah, 2.5.
1st of February, weren't we, Rachel?
Yeah, I was a little bit after you. You were a couple weeks, I think, before me.
Were you? Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
Time flies.
pretty close.
I'm flying.
3 months already.
And I feel the exact same thing. I've seen most people on Zooms. I am so nervous if someone walks in and does not look like their picture because I won't know who they are. So you guys are going to be much better at this than me. So if I have that face like, oh God, who is this? Tell me their name, because there's a good chance. I have an agent in Amherst who had she has dark hair. And she walked into the office and her hair is like almost like light blonde. And I just said, hey, hi, can I help you? It's like, I work here. Oh, great. That's embarrassing. So
don't be so hard on yourself. You have to remember all of us. We just have to kind of remember you, right? We understand.
And I'm bad at
Exactly.
this.
Good point.
I mix up my kids. I sort of say the 4 names and hope one of them answers me most times. So.
Well, and the reality is not many of us go to the office. I mean, I only went in there maybe twice, I think, before it closed. Like you don't go into the office much now anyway, right?
Go there to bug my mom.
Yeah, yes. Rachel, you're more connected. You probably knew lots of faces before you ever started.
I used to help with some of like the filing and stuff when they had like audits and stuff. So I knew some of them.
And she loved that job, I'm assuring.
Honestly, I really like organization, so really? I didn't mind it.
I see all those files and it's like, oh, thank God it's not me.
Rachel, I just realized your last name.
Oh, yeah.
Now I know who your mom is.
My mom is McNeil, but she was McGinney, yeah.
I know, she used to go hyphenated, so
yeah.
Yeah, and she has the most beautiful baby on this call. Sorry, everybody. I don't see anybody else, but.
Oh no, I totally agree. I mean, I've seen some gorgeous fur babies, but as far as human babies go, Rachel's totally nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, she is on here. I'm just not confident in sending her back to daycare right now. So she might be present for a couple calls.
Yeah. Now I have 2 daughters locked down because of contact. Our clinic out here has a lot of COVID. So my daughter works at the clinic with pregnant women only. So we're hoping none of them have it or didn't give it to her, but you never know. Okay, so next question. What is the advice so I'm going to ask everybody, so put your thinking caps on getting into effective production as quickly as possible.
The faster you get, what's the, what? Say that again. What's the effective?
What's your advice on getting into effective production as quickly as possible? So give us a hint on how you're
Making phone calls, contacting your sphere. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself right away.
One, good. Anything else?
If your sphere is not wanting to buy or sell, you're going to ask them if they know anybody who wants to buy and sell.
Perfect. Do you know that at one time, stats say that everybody knows at least 5 people who are in the real estate market, either buying, selling, investment, whatever. So asking that question is super important. I know you're not selling. Do you know anyone else that you think may be selling and or buying? And they are really happy to give out someone else's name so you don't ask them any more questions.
It's who do you know? So it's not a yes or no. We learned that from Colin. Who do you know? I'm going to switch back because I'm going to switch that a little bit to what we talked about yesterday on Magic Comes in Threes. And it's actually having your presentations, whether it's you're selling or buying, done, prepared, and know it. And I think I'm going to feel more confident once I have that done, because right now there's too much coming at me and I don't absorb it. So to try to answer your last question, was there any ahas? There's too many ahas and I don't know which one to focus on. So I'm kind of like Joanne, I'm going to go back. I'm going to have to go through each mission and do the missions again with my own self and figure that out. But I need to work on the presentations for the buyer and seller. And then that'll give me more confidence to start talking to everybody else.
A great way to start there, and you can use it as a guideline, is the one that's in command. It's actually quite nice. So it's gorgeous. And you have to get the American stuff out, like the mortgaging. And if it ever says something like escrow, you just have to read through and get rid of that stuff. But other than that, basically it's well put together. So you can use it as a guideline if you don't want to use it, but move it forward with that.
And and that's in command somewhere?
Yeah, go into designs and search buyer's guide, seller's guide.
Okay.
There's a pre-listing presentation as well, Dennis, and it's really, really good.
Okay.
You know what? And they are good. And although Tina, my mentor, says I don't need a presentation, I haven't had to do a presentation yet for a buyer. Thank God. But my daughter's going to do my own PowerPoint, but there's lots of things there. And then up in Paragon, there's things, right? Yep. For both of them. So I did the CMA Cloud thing yesterday for Paragon. That was very useful too.
It is. Paragon and Steve at the board, anytime he's teaching, get into stuff, because we're not using Paragon or that whole system I doubt we are using it more than 10%. So there's massive amounts of stuff that you can use as resources from there.
Steve's excellent.
Yeah. See, he's fabulous. And if you ever stuck, call him. He answers the phone.
Yeah, he said that too when we're in the thing. He said, call. If you need help, let me know. Email, call me.
Yeah. And
you guys know he does training every Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Each Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think we have it in I think Aaron set it up so that it's automatically in there in our calendars now.
Yeah. And everyone has the calendar on their phone, so you always know what's happening and you can just click Zoom.
Yep.
Jen?
No, I don't know how to do that yet. We'll figure that out. I have it on my desktop though.
Aaron, just ask Aaron to.
But what I will say is, if anybody's interested, I have on my list of a couple hundred things here, now about 1,000. And on my list is to do my own present, because it's sort of like I said before, it's Costco is successful because they have 2 options. Because if you give people too many options, they kind of go, okay, we'll do that later, or they won't buy it. So the onboarding program is amazing. We came in at an awesome time. Command is prime. We have our coach, we have our mentor, we have everything. But next week, we're like little birds going out of the nest, which is awesome. So this all lines up. But I guess my thing is that knowing what training specifically, what place to go, that kind of thing, because there's so much. So I guess what I'm saying is if anybody's on this call and new and they want to say do a pre-listing package and a listing package, and but on Wednesday meet somewhere, car side by side, and switch and read through it. Because when I did executive summaries for, you know, Yellow Pages for online advertising, it was like 50 pages long. So people that have teams, they typically have that in place, right? So I want to create, and I can share, it doesn't have to be my own, but some tips and tricks and for a pre.
I do too, but you're ahead of the game, Jen, on me. Like you get things together. Like I looked at your book that you had done the other day. I'm like, what's that? I made it. Like you are major organized.
I'm willing to share. So if anybody wants, like I would even
So I've been here 3 months and I don't have a listing thing ready yet. That's my daughter's on task next week to get it ready for me.
Tell her to call me. I'll like whatever, but I'm willing to help and share. So Dennis, if you want, say by Wednesday, we'll have our pre-listing package together to review together or whatever. We can talk about that offline, but I think that's a really great thing. Like do it like that. Set deadlines for yourself to learn.
And
That is some
together via Zoom, like have little
You're
master.
going to be awesome at this, Jen.
But
You're so
everyone
organized.
here, the bird is getting pushed out of her nest very shortly. And you guys all doing the bushing.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah.
I'm one of these people that I'm all over the place and I grab, okay, I got to do this, this, and this. And then I forget I'm doing this. And then I go back to it. But I get it done.
Now, I'm not sure when Cullen's doing it, but if you guys want to read a good book, and Rachel, your mom would have this, The One Thing.
Yeah, that was a
And
good book.
basically it explains all of this. Just focus on one thing every day and get her done. Don't have 10 things that you sort of halfway do. Get it, one thing done. Get your 20% in and make sure you're doing it.
So I made the mistake of getting the One Thing book and I read it. And now every time I get scattered and going in different directions, my husband says, the one thing, Marianne, one thing.
Cullen is actually a one thing certified coach.
Yeah, he talks about it all the time. He asks us in our coaching session, what's our one thing for today, right?
And normally I'd say run into the office. We have that little library in the back that people throw their books in, but you can't do that. So, and you can't even go to Chapters. So if it's on Amazon, order it and get it delivered to your door. Does anyone else have something that is going to get them into production quick as possible?
I just think quick as possible is not the way to look at it. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah, I think service is really important, especially with Zillow coming. Like it needs to be about service and doing it well and being quick. You got to be quick.
When I say productivity or production, that means you are talking to people and you're writing contracts. So that could be a buyer's agent contract. That's what I consider production. But unless you're out there talking to people, you're not going to get into production, right? So you have to get out and actually start doing some of these things, okay? One of the other things is making sure that you are focusing with your coach. So don't miss your one-on-ones. He'll be able to guide you on where you can move your business to have more what I call real estate work. It's not the making a flyer. It's not, and if Chad is close enough to hear this, he's going to laugh his ass off because I was the flyer queen and it doesn't bring in any money at all. So what you have to do is make sure that you're moving your business forward in your business activities. Okay. And that's where a lot of people get hung up at the beginning because you're more doing piece by piece by piece of the stuff that you know you're going to use later. Your listings, let me tell you what we used to bring to a listing before. They don't care if you don't have a listing presentation yet. Go and talk to these people. Okay, that's your biggest asset, building relationships. And that's the asset you have to really start practicing. Okay.
And you have to remember that they don't know what you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
They have no idea what
That's
you're
right.
going to bring to the table. And some just want bottom line. They want to know how much you're going to charge. and when you can get it started. Want to take pictures today? Yep. Measure? Yep. And you haven't done any presentation. You've walked through the house, you've made nice, they like you, and you start.
When I started working with my listing presentation, I totally missed the fact that they didn't care about my listing presentation. They wanted to list their house right now. And finally, they looked at me and said, we're listing with you. It's kind of like, okay. And I actually started my presentation more explaining what I was going to do instead of taking out the listing agreements and saying, press hard. There's 3 copies.
My listing agreement, I offered him things and he's like, no, just list it. I don't want a staging. I don't want.
No, it's true. I think it's very true. All great, valid points. I think it's more or less me understanding the content in that listing, right? To understand the value that we bring, to know like more the process that I want to make sure that I follow the process. It may not go 1 through 10, but it gives me a guideline. So if I know my own listing presentation, whether or not I whip it out or not, or email it to them, I know it. And so when I have that conversation, there isn't any big surprises. I know there's going to be, but I guess that's also, I don't know what I don't know, but very true. And getting it done as well. Very, very true. Yeah.
And that was the aha I had with the magic comes in threes, is saying, you think it's lead gen, but it's not. He says that's second. The first thing is getting your presentation so you feel more comfortable with the lead gen. So that's where I was just like, yeah, that makes more sense to me.
And I do feel that, Dennis, what you're saying there. And Jen, with the presentation, I think that actually gives you the confidence to have those conversations so that you're not stumbling over yourself to say what you need to say. So the listing presentation, like Jen just said, whether you use it or not doesn't matter. It's in there. So once it's there, then it makes sense. But again, to what Jen was said, you don't know what you don't know. And the presentation, whether it's the buyer presentation, pre-listing, listing, whatever it is, once you have that process down, then you can mix and match and play with it however makes you feel comfortable in the moment that you're having that conversation with someone. And you can determine whether or not, okay, I'm going to actually dig out my laptop and we're going to have this presentation, or it's a conversation because, like Joanne said, I just want to list. Yeah. So can we just do that? And even back to what you said, Laura Lee, about they're like, okay, take the yes as a yes. Let's sign the contract. And you're, kind of going, okay, this is what I need to do. But I do think that those tools need to be there, which.
Oh, they certainly do, but don't wait until it's perfect is what I'm saying.
It'll never be perfect.
Yeah. Like I'm not perfect and I had to go. I got 3 listings, right? So they're not all one's up.
And that's fine. And I just think that when you talk about the disc or the KPA, like your guy that wanted to list, he's a D.
Yep.
He's a
Have
D.
you guys done your disc here yet?
So the biggest thing there is Joanne's used to having, I'm going to say chaos because you just said, I have this and this and this and this, but you're used to that. You've had your business. I haven't. This is my first time doing anything business related, and I need a good foundation. And with me teaching trucking, I want to always give people a good foundation. So now I've gone out and done it, but I'm just like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what I don't know, like Jen always says. So it just comes down to
fake it till you make it.
Having the preparation.
That's definitely my mantra, Joanne.
Yeah,
it's my mantra.
We're going to be that duck. That duck's going to be there regardless. Absolutely.
I'm pretending I'm so experienced.
Everyone will understand 20 years from now, this will be stuck in your head. You're going to sit in a course and say, I had no idea that would work, or I did not know that. And it could be 20 years later. Because you never actually know it all in this business. And that's why we have a broker team. That's why you have mentors. That's why, because all we can do is give you as much of the experience that people have. You're always going to find new things. You're always going to see new things. And Marianne, you're still learning new stuff all the time, aren't you?
Oh, even just doing a listing, you'll run into things. I'm doing one right now, and I've never done a condo before, so it's a lot of questions.
which I had to help Jen not too long ago with one. So
Well, I was surprised with my mentor. She's been an agent for 11 years and there's been 3 things that have come up for me that she's never had to deal with before.
exactly. Well, I had been in the business, I was in the business 20 years before we came to KW. And Chad, we were coming over in a hot mess because on Friday we found out we were going to a different company. Our office got bought out, which we didn't want to go to. And we were moving on Monday morning. So we called Jerry on Friday night because we had talked to him a couple of times. He wanted us to come over and he says, yeah, no problem. 29 listings the girls put together for us for Monday morning. And Chad had 3 buyers on that week, or 2 buyers on that weekend. And he was still going fishing because it was his fishing weekend. And I ended up having to write an offer on a mobile home. And my very first day in KW, had to phone the broker and say, I have no idea how to do this. So if I do it, could you check it over? She says, that's what we're here for. I said, perfect. So I said, can you give me any advice? Like, I didn't even know that there was a hitch on a mobile home. Like, it was like, really? It was Anne, and she said, I said, do you have any advice for me? Tell me something I don't know, hopefully, because I don't know much about this. And she says, well, I would stop calling it a trailer and call it a mobile home. And I thought, cool. Super, super nice clients. We got through it. I was very honest. This is my first mobile home, guys, so I may have to phone someone for some advice. And they were perfectly fine with it. And that's after 20 years of being in the business. Same when my daughter bought her place, we had no idea what the heating system was. We're looking at it like, what is that? So it's gone now because it was useless. But so I would give you 2 things for me with the how to get into production. And the 2 things will also go into the next question as well, is systems and consistency. Okay. And as soon as you get busy, those 2 things are the first thing that falls off everybody's train. Okay. Put them on and make sure you're using your systems and make sure you're being very, very consistent in what you're doing and get those habits formed. Okay. So the next question is, what is going to be your longevity and prosperity in real estate and the real estate business? What are you going to need, or what do you think you're going to have to focus on to be very successful? I already gave you 2.
Lead generation.
Yep. Consistent lead generation.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm going to agree with Joanne and just take it not one step further, but just to clarify a bit and go back to command and just say working as I was told yesterday, my data bank.
Exactly.
Because that's where the money is.
Exactly.
So to do, I'm gonna go back to that. Just consistently inputting and getting output from command and making sure that's a part of my daily habit.
The other place that I'm learning, like every time I do a search, every person I search for goes into Paragon. And that's the other resource. Now, I don't take everybody I search and put them into command until I feel they're more generated. Do you know what I mean?
I would put them in right away because you can drip on them. Even if they get a little email from you that says this week.
I do that through my other CRM though.
Okay.
That's all done for me. There's an assistant in there that sends a text message. There's emails going out first right away, then 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months. It's all there. And I can change it if I'm taking it over, or they can continue to do it. So that's cool.
What did you decide to buy that system when you have command doing the exact same thing?
What?
What made you invest in a different system?
The exclusivity of owning those postal codes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So one quick thing about the Paragon. So what I've heard, and again, this is just agents talking or whatever, is that if somebody's not interested in ever real estate, you know, like let's just say my brother is a real estate agent. Well, then you're probably not going to put them in your database. I figure, like they said, everyone that you meet, put them in your database. And then somebody said in Paragon, they only put their buyers and sellers, or the people that are going to be interested, their leads, who they're working with in Paragon. So it's kind of like,
I put people in Paragon right away. Like I got people that really just want to see something, but they don't necessarily want to agree to work with me yet.
But as long as
So
they
I'm
want to see something, right?
Yes.
Like, it's just a little.
Yeah.
They're looking. I wouldn't put
Yeah, they're
someone
looking a bit.
talk to and isn't interested in real estate at that point, because you're going to get all these emails that you have to follow for.
Right.
I personally prefer Command, to put everything in there and then
Yeah.
get them working on your app, because it'll all work together, right? So if you're right now, we're over here in Paragon, and we're over
Yeah.
here with Command, and we were over here with Market Leader, and over here with.
That's it. This is what I'm seeing. Yeah. And I'm thinking Command and Paragon for people that are interested to send them the.
Yeah, if you can get them working on your app, you've got them forever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because they cannot communicate with anybody else but you on the app.
Does
which is-
the app though update as quickly as Paragon does?
Yep.
Well, it's
For
live.
homes that are
Yeah.
for homes that are about to come onto the market?
No, as
That's
soon as,
everything for
on-
MLS, isn't it?
as soon
But
as
is
it's
it?
MLS, it updates into our system.
It wouldn't put our exclusive up though, right? Because it's not on the MLS.
Exactly. That's where your Facebook pages and your email, your
The Paragon, I love the Paragon. I've already got 2 people on that in there, and one guy's switching it out. Now he's slowed down a little bit, so it's time for me to contact him again and rework that. But yeah, Paragon for me, it works great.
you're going to find as soon as you get any systems up and running, they're going to be good. Paragon works very well. The thing with Paragon is you never know when they're actually actively looking.
Yeah, they
if you-
do.
You do if they make changes, because
Oh,
every
if
time
they
you
make
make a
changes.
change, it's there, right?
But I can tell you most, and the reason I know this is because my son is on this right now, because when they come back, they're buying a house. And if he doesn't press on the email, we think he hasn't even opened it. But you can look at everything that's coming up just by not opening the listing. So like I'll say, did you see that listing? He says, yeah, I seen it. You know, I don't like the backyard or something. And it's like, okay, well, you didn't show up that you've seen it. But he's probably just doing it on his phone in the email itself. So
Yeah, the way that so this one guy is in Ontario. So normally they say not to dislike or unlike or question mark anything, but he gave me certain things that he wanted. So like when certain things popped up that's not really in the best spot, I'll just give it a thumbs down. And then he switched it every once in a while. No, I like that one. Right. And then I would write back why I didn't like it. So then we can have that discussion, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. And the other thing too is if they this just happened because our daughter bought a house last year, so she was on it. And then she was looking for something and I said, I'll just send those out to you. And of course she gave me attitude. It was like, well, are you going to send me that stuff, Mom? A week later, I did. She says, I didn't get it. So here I'm trying to fiddle and find out why. She put stop sending information last year and it's still there. So we actually had to send something out to her to get her to resubmit and be put back on the system. So it's little things like that. Like if you don't hear from someone, pick up the phone because it could be something they've done on the system that took them right out. So if they're active and then all of a sudden not, find out why. And that's the same with Command. Now, the nice thing that's going to be happening, everyone here put up your hand and say, yes, I am putting my deals in through Command. Everybody, okay? Do not start doing it the old way and then switch over. And one of the things, we're having a mentor session because our mentors aren't all doing it and they were teaching our people how to do it the old way. So New people have to do it during it. So if you have a new deal and you're not sure how to do it, pick up the phone and Erin will walk you through it. So you start using command right from the start. It's a lot easier than the other way they're going to teach you, and there's a lot less mistakes. It guides you with check marks and it guides you with lists. So it's a whole lot better than sending it in through email. Plus right now we have half the people in command and half the people in email, and it's a problem because our poor gals are never sure where it's coming in from. Okay, so we're trying to get people onto command, and we definitely don't want our new agents not starting like that because it is much more efficient. Plus, understand that once you get this down pat, I know there's a lot to learn with it, but if you are on Paragon and your client is writing an offer, you go into web forms, or you're listing a property, you go into web forms. Look at the top of web forms, DocuSign. Look at DocuSign, command. So it just goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh all through, okay? Start doing that the way you're doing it right away, and you're make it your norm. Don't try other things. So if a mentor says, do it this way, and it doesn't include command, call Erin, because you want to make sure you're doing it through command. You should be working command. When you sit at your desk in the morning, the first thing you should do is open command and see what tasks are there for you. Okay. What are you saying, Dennis?
So when you're in Paragon and I want to, let's just say that next couple of weeks here, we get this COVID under control and I can go list this mobile that I was supposed to list last weekend or 2 weekends ago. So I go in there and I want to get the web form for working with the realtor, and for all those things come from Paragon. And then when I hit DocuSign through Paragon, that takes it automatically to us over in command, or no? How does that work?
Web forms is the one that has DocuSign. So when you're doing your DocuSign, you can just go straight into, when you're doing web forms and doing up your paperwork, because you have to come, it's not in Paragon, right? It's web forms. That is another section of that whole system that's there.
On the dashboard.
So, on the dashboard. So you go in, do your listing, do your offer, whatever you're doing, and then you can go directly into DocuSign from there. And then when you're in DocuSign, you are automatically in DocuSign and command, because your DocuSign is actually connected with your command system. So it just flows right through. So to go from DocuSign to put it into Opportunity and to submit it is super easy, because you're just bringing it over and putting it in the right section. And it's really nice, because let's say you forget to get the working with a realtor signed. There's a section where you have to bring your working with a realtor for a buyer or for a seller. If you don't have it, you've already forgotten something. So you can go and get it done.
So I guess I'm still lost. So because when you're in web forms on the dashboard and I go get the page and I hit DocuSign on there through web forms, does it automatically take us to command, or do I have to save the web form and send it to our DocuSign, not theirs? Because theirs costs money.
Now you should be working in your own DocuSign and web forms.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I was just asking the question. Like if I'm on Paragon,
when
I go through Paragon.
Yeah, so when you're opening up your DocuSign, it's going to use your credentials, right?
Yeah, but okay, I'll have to work with it, I guess, to figure it out.
You know what we can do, Dennis, is when we have the conversation with Michelle, we can put that as the thing for her to show us on the Zoom. So Michelle's in Windsor. She's been amazing, but with COVID, she's in a different area than us. We can't go. She was trying so hard to get us out and doing things. So I said, instead of that, videotape your showings. Let's have, 2-3 calls a week, an hour. And she's great. So she asked us what we like to focus on. So that's obviously something we're going to do hopefully first. So Dennis, we can take that up with her and she'll show us on Zoom.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Great idea. Actually.
I guess this where my confusion is when I took the course with Steve, he says when you go into web forms and you hit DocuSign, it's going to cost you this much. And I'm thinking, well,
no,
I know
because we pay for your DocuSign.
Right. So when I take the web form, like when I go onto web forms, which is through Paragon, I would save the document and then I would transfer it to our DocuSign is how that would work, I'm assuming. I can't just hit DocuSign.
When you
through
open
Parenting.
DocuSign, I think it just asks you to log in. So
Oh,
you
okay.
log in with our credentials, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
it's not, you don't go in and buy the system like everyone else. All they're doing is buying the system and then they're going to have their credentials. So
Mm.
you already have your
I
DocuSign.
gotta log in. Yeah, that's what I was missing, I guess. Yeah.
So when you log in, it should open up in your KW DocuSign automatically. You shouldn't have
Yeah.
two DocuSigns running.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. But yeah, no, that makes more sense. I was just thinking I was logged into Paragon and then they'd charge me through the NSAR.
Yeah. And that, check your bills because unfortunately things like that can happen. Okay, next one. How do you create a personal plan and make process your focus?
What do you mean?
So we are always saying that you have to have systems in place. What are different ways to get those systems up and running?
Huh. In terms of systems, I keep thinking of all the things I need for infrastructure. So I go back to what Colin had said before about the one thing. What's the one thing you can do now that by doing it, all other things will fall into place? I'm paraphrasing. It's something like that.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, yay, yay me. Okay, I'm somewhat close. Shooting for about 80% accuracy right now. So for me, that's been really instrumental. So I keep thinking about, okay, ultimately, this is how I want my business to look. And I've been kind of working my way back to what's the one thing I need to do right now to take me to that next step, to take me to the next step, et cetera, et cetera. And that's essentially what I'm doing.
Exactly. So you're getting your systems in place and then keeping consistent with it. There's nothing wrong with lists. Make lists for everything. So when I have my presentation, these are the things I have to go through. These are things, a lot of people have their guides so that they don't forget themselves. So make sure that all of those things are going piece by piece. So you can say, like I always used to forget for documentation. So the back of my package was a sheet that I pulled out and handed it to them and said, okay, can you send all of this information to our assistant? And then because when all of a sudden you have a sale, everything's already there. You're not running around trying to find everything or asking them to find stuff. And then the next one, because people don't do what you ask them to do ever, the assistant calls and goes through the list and just sends an email saying, hey, we've received this, this, and this, but could you please look for this, 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 and this? It'll make things easier when we sell your house. So you have all of the systems, all of your lists, everything's in place. Don't think you're going to remember everything. Have no problems ripping out a piece of paper out of your buyer's guide with what they're going to have to do when they buy the property. So you can talk to them, you can go down it, you can explain it all to them, but then hand them the paper and they have it. So they can never come back and say, you didn't tell me to get the power switched over into my name. It's kind of like, okay, it's right on the piece of paper right here. Look, see? And we do that too. Like, Aaron will say, I taught them that. Yeah, well, give them a paper with what the numbers are, because they always come back and say, I didn't do that.
You know what? I say to Erin, I said, I don't know how to do this. And then she teach me. I said, oh yeah, you did show me that. I say to me, it takes me a few times before I absorb it.
That's the fire hose, right? Like at the end of the day. And then for me, I'm a visual but hands-on. And unfortunately, there's a lot of visual here with the lack of hands-on. And that's because I need to get my leads in order to get the listings and the buyers. And it's just like, so it's the hands-on part that
if you need to fake contacts in your database, fake them. Like Donald Duck can go into your database to learn how to do it properly.
I have 100 in there or something, 70, 65, 73, something like that.
So I have learned that I can Google how to do something in Command if I don't know how to do it, and it will come up, right? And I just say KW Command, and whatever I want to learn comes up. There's somebody that's done a video on it. If it's not us, it's somebody else.
Awesome.
do
I have
that, so,
techie children and. when
because I often want to know how to do something at midnight.
Google is your friend, and we learned
It
that.
is.
Honestly, it was not what I was ever doing before, because we have 4 kids that are very much techier than we all are, obviously. But when the oldest moved to Vancouver, it was like the first couple of times I was phoning, and then I said, can we get that thing so you can just get into my computer? And he says, no, you're getting Google. So then he wouldn't do anything except Google it with me. He says, I said, but Jonathan, you know it, it's fast. He says, you do realize 90% of the time you ask me a question, I Google it. It's like, okay, I can Google. And last night I put a database together Googling. Chad was laughing.
Honest to God. It's
Yeah,
awesome, isn't it?
It worked perfectly. Also, go into Google and say, what can I do today to increase my business in real estate? You're going to get about 500 different things you can read over. Just gives you some ideas. What did I Google? Oh, I had to put down how to build a relationship with agents for my coach. And I Googled, how do you build a relationship with your leaders? And he was so impressed. And it was kind of like, yeah, see, it's right here. So it works. And I can tell you the younger group, that's how they're getting through school now. They Google everything. Next thing, I don't want you to tell me what it is, because this is something that's personal to you. So say today is day 1 of your business. This time next year, what is your goal in monetary value? Put it in your head. Everyone have it? You should write it down somewhere, and I'll explain the other way of goal writing next time. Everyone has their goal?
No, it's my call today with Colin. He wanted me to do my 10-year goal.
Colin had me do mine already. That's why I already know it.
Okay, so I want you now to double it.
No, I can't double it.
Yes, you
It's
can.
already high.
Yep.
So Laura Lee, is this in 1 year from today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Does that look scary to you? That new number?
No, it looks awesome.
Okay.
No, it scares me because I'm not 100% sure of how I would do that yet.
Yet, it's coming.
Yeah.
I can tell you, everyone here, and I do this when I'm sitting face to face with people and I get them to tell me their number. And I can tell you, you can double it. Okay. And that's just going from being able to talk to other people all the time. So basically, and if you think about it this way, that is your goal. Make that your goal. Aim for the stars. Okay. If you landed on the moon, would you be happy?
Probably not. It'd probably be lonely.
So you can understand,
Sorry.
let's say your first number was the moon, your second number was the stars, and I can tell you, you can get to the stars just by doing everything that we just talked about. Okay. The next thing you should do this week, and I'm giving you a little bit of homework that's not in this, I want you to write down or make a nice picture any way you want. You can put your, you can write it in a list, or you can make a nice, go on to Canva and make a nice little diagram of your why. Why do you want this doubled number? In your life, what is your why? Okay. I'll tell you a few of ours, and it's so bizarre in our household because we've done this almost every year for the past 10 years. And our whys, Chad and I, are always exactly the same, which is really odd. Like we really thought, right down to, I have no interest in a 4-wheeler, but he says 2 4-wheelers. I say 2 4-wheelers. He thought I was getting on one. I was thinking Carter was getting on the other one. So we have 2 4-wheelers now, and I don't actually ever get on one. I do, to go down to my lake. So, do that and show it to the people that are in your world. And I can tell you, you can figure out how much that costs. I'll give you some ideas of other people's whys. One is family. One is family vacations. One is debt-free in your life. How nice would your life be if you didn't have mortgage? Like, we have one goal that is monthly, never to pay 1 cent in interest. And that is actually KW standard. Our office is not allowed to pay interest. So it's what you're going to be taught through everything. But you can figure out your why. One of my whys is to go on a nice vacation with the entire family. And that, people say, oh, that's not huge. Well, there's 10 of us. That's not a cheap vacation. And people that are trying to have babies keep messing them up. And we end up skiing because there's no, whatever that, I don't even remember what it is. Zika. So we were going on a cruise, booked, everything was ready to go. And one of our kids said, Mom, can you switch it? The one that has the baby now, because we're trying to get pregnant and it's too dangerous to go into the Caribbean. So I said, okay, no problem, we'll go skiing. So we went to Quebec skiing that Christmas and they didn't come. It was like, I'm going to kill them. So yeah, so figure that out. Honestly, one of the things that you can do, make it your sleeping screen on your computer. So every day when you open up that computer, your why poster is going to be there. Okay. Who wants to share them with me once I get them done?
Sure.
Perfect. So just send them off and we'll go over them with you, and then your goals for the money side will meet your whys, and you are a lot more, you're guaranteed to hit your goals if you're working for the why, not for the number. Right? I don't know about you guys, but we always seem to be able to do the things we wanted to do. We just realized that we weren't asking for a lot. So we always and don't put it that basics. You know that you always have food on your table. You know that your kids are safe. You know that you have good shelter. Move higher and figure out what you want, because what you focus on comes. And if you're focusing on just making sure you can pay your bills at the end of the month, the only thing you're going to focus on and the only thing you're going to get is enough money to pay the bills at the end of the month. But if you put in there that I want to take my wife or my husband on vacation every 3 months, I guarantee you can do it, because you're focusing on that. You're not focusing on the lower goal. Same with why I'm doubling your goal. Don't just put that. Aim high, and you will come much closer to that. You guys, when there was a trainer in KW, she just retired. She was with KW right from the beginning. It's Deanne Kokoska. She used to be in charge of MAPS coaching. And she was hilarious because she would actually coach people to say, this is your goal. Okay, so in the year, you want to make it this much. And then she would say, okay, you made these goals. Next year, I want you to do that in 1 month. And they'd all look at her like she was crazy. But maybe they took 2 months to do it. But that's already 80% higher than what she did the year before. And then when she got to that amount of money in 1 month, she goes, okay, she's building teams and she's doing all kinds of stuff. I want you to do it in 1 week. And she would do that whole thing. And I think it was $110,000. And she got down to, she did her first week of 110,000. And then laughing the next year, she says, you're going to do it in 1 day. And it took her almost a year to do it, but she did 1 day that she had $110,000 in the day. So it's just moving to whatever levels you want to move to. Our rookie of the year last year How much do you think he made?
220,000.
270.
285.
Where
We
is he
have-
from?
Where is he from?
Here.
Here.
Who is it?
Jatender. No, sorry, Samet. Jatender was the year before at 150. So that
Wonderful.
your very first year. So some of you guys are lucky because, well, all of you, I think, because you started after Jan 1. So this is your practice year, and your first full year next year is your rookie year. In the last 5 years, we've never been lower than $150,000. So is it doable? Yes. Okay, and I know everybody sitting on this call can do it. We have very, very strong new agents. It's very, very different this year, which is very cool. So I can't wait to see who gets that rookie of the year. This year, you guys won't even be able to get into it, but you can practice. So you're really good next year. Did anyone start before December? No. Everyone was after December, right? Yeah. So 2022 will be your guys' rookie year. Okay.
I'm really excited about spending time with my, I mean, obviously money's a huge driver for me because it gives me the time with my family. But I'm looking forward to spending more time with my kids and being able to take those vacations, have just our time because life is so short.
Yep.
And they're like 13 and 15 and they think they're 30 already. And the boys are starting to come and I just want to slow down and I want to enjoy the moment with them.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of my why.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we did. We said when they were all in those ages, we actually, from the time they were quite small, we said 1 vacation a year with everybody. And that was, sometimes that's not easy when you've got to drag around 4 children. It was tough some years, but we always focused and said, we'll do it. And we did it. So that was, sometimes it was a little less fancy and other times it was much better. We did Ireland on a budget 1 year. That was different. So yeah, you figure out what you want and just move towards it and don't make it a money value. Figure out what you want in your life. You guys haven't met Jerry and Annette Murphy face to face. Well, some of you have, but I don't think some of you have seen them, but not in face to face. To be honest with you, Chad and I just strive to have their life, have their team running so well that they can go away once a month. And they often make more money when they're away than when they get back. Before we knew Jerry and Annette from Remax days. And it seemed like every time we went to the airport on a vacation, which was maybe the 1 or 2 vacations we went on a year, they were always there. And I thought, it's so weird. We connect. Like, we must be on the same type of schedule or something. No, they just go away once a month. So they're at the airport all the time. So that's the type of life everyone wants to get to. They are going to really enjoy their years. And hopefully we can all travel again very, very soon. They haven't been, I don't think they've been to their condo in Florida in a year and a half. So it's tough. So any questions? Because we must be good. I know I've talked too much. Sorry. Yeah. Did you guys have any questions? Have you done the 411s yet with your coach? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go over stuff that he's doing. I have already with some of it. Okay, now the thing is, what do you need? Okay,
time to actually implement the things that I've learned.
Okay.
So I'm very much looking forward to not being an Ignite. And I say that with love because I've really enjoyed everything, but I'm kind of over it. I've got some training burnout right now, and I just need to dig in, work on my business and make sure I'm ready to rock and roll and just do it. Just go do it.
Perfect.
Same.
What can the office help you with? Is there
All of
something?
that too.
Have a BB gun at the office. Are you training? No, go do.
Yeah.
I guess,
Well,
sorry, if I had something to ask, I guess it's hard now with COVID and everything, right? But is there anybody that it's up to the host owners, but as soon as things open up, I guess rather than just not waiting or asking our mentor, is there anybody in the office that's available that could be on a list that we could, newbies wanting to go along with them for this, like, is there some kind of something other than just relying on our mentors? You know what I'm saying? Where we can just run and.
Unfortunately, this is something that happens organically normally when the office is open. Like,
Yeah, like I would just sit there all day and run with whoever's going where.
and people do that, right? And you have to get the paperwork done and of course stuff like that. But that's what everybody's missing. And to be so this is so frustrating that we're shut down again, because we had just said for May, we're going to start having small groups at the office for training and little masterminds and everything. And it just went zzzt, and it's gone. So we're hoping this happens very quickly and we don't have to, stay in lockdown and be able to start opening. Like we still have a cruise booked that hasn't been canceled yet. So, our fingers are crossed, but that's when you get to meet other people and just be able to answer questions. It's cool in the office because if there's a newbie in the office, and most of the agents that are in the office are the ones with offices too. So there's a whole pile of experience and new people there. But some of the times it was hilarious. A newbie would ask a question and basically they were fighting over giving me answers.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm really looking for it. And it's nice to know that culture's there, which is a reason why I'm here as well. And so when that opens up, I guess that would be the only thing to have sort of place where we can go and ask our 10 questions, instead of putting it on the mentor or spreading it around a little bit.
And I think you guys could probably do a little bit of that right now. Have your own little masterminds, like you said. Do your, and don't do it together, obviously, because you can't do it together right now.
Right.
But Zoom, get together on Zoom and go over listing presentations and, throw ideas around.
Are we able to use the KW Zoom if it's not already occupied?
I can ask.
That would be really cool because we can get a free one, right, to use. And that's where my budget lives right now, is whatever's free I can do.
And you get an hour.
Oh, I thought it was 30 minutes.
No, it's about an hour.
That would be all about that too, Sherry.
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We could open it up Erin can open it up for you and you guys, make someone the host and.
Yeah.
I have a free Zoom account too, so I have a paid account, so it's not, you don't get cut off.
Yeah, which is great. I'm just not, my resources are limited. I'm trying to be very strategic about where I place them. So whatever I can get for free.
Do you know what? Google Hangouts is great for meeting too. That's free. It's part of Google.
Oh, okay, that's good. Well, and actually,
you can do video
have
with Google
Workspace,
Hangouts anytime, and it doesn't expire. It's wicked.
Okay, so maybe we can do that then. That'll be a good alternative. So the other thing relative to that, and to build on what Jen was saying about being able to get out with other agents, you know how we do for out-of-town buyers, where they go in, they do the tour. Could they not just do that with us, to take us on the tour of the house with a video?
Right now, they're down to what their buyers want for people through the house. So it would have to be with the numbers. Obviously, if someone's going through and doing a video, they would, I would think, love to have you because they can actually talk and you video as it goes.
Or even if they share it on the YouTube station and let us know, hey, this host showing was, we can go look too, I guess, but any that are posted, love to
do something like that. Just put it on the Facebook page. I know people are doing virtual walkthroughs right now and they can just hold it when they're doing it.
That's exactly it. I would love to be a little fly on the wall, right? Stay on mute and just kind of be the observer like we would if we were there in person. Exactly. But just to be able to listen to the agent as they're talking to their client. Okay, this is that conversation, or even to go through with an inspector with the agent to say, okay, these are the things to look for.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just feel like there'd be so much value to have there.
So none of you guys have gone with to an inspection yet? I thought it
We
was.
couldn't because of COVID. She had invited us,
I went to a pre-close inspection.
but it would be.
I gotta go. I got my meeting with Colin.
See you
Good
later.
luck,
Okay,
Dennis.
see
Great week.
ya.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
I
jump
gotta
here
go
too in
too.
like a minute.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
But
So-
yeah, something like that where they could videotape them going through the inspection and say to the inspector, you know what, there's a lot of new real estate agents you can imagine. Do you mind if I just video? That would be great. So if there's any agents wanting.
Anything.
And some clients aren't going to the inspection, so they, you know, you may be able to
Yeah.
go.
I think it adds a value add to the brand of KW as well, is that they continue to bring out great prepared agents by them being able to watch them do or a flow test. Hi, Daryl, do you mind if so tell us what you're doing here? You know, I mean, it's a little silly, but it would be great firsthand knowledge. If you could spread that maybe to the mentor call, and we've shared that, we're going to share that with Michelle as well, but it's just kind of neat. Just if one of them is doing it, to send it to everybody, if that's possible.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. And
Anything.
now that aren't mentors that are doing this for their clients, because people are back not there. So
Would love any access to anything like that, just for edification, so that we're more confident again going in to have these conversations with people.
So go through Paragon as well. And some agents are putting those videos right onto Paragon.
Where would they be putting them?
In the section that at the bottom, it says virtual tours. So,
Oh, right on the listings.
yeah.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
You can watch some of them. You can also, you know, I know it's not the same as going out and seeing houses, but you can go through the whole package that they put together for that listing. So go in and check the photos, check the videos, check the Matterport that are done, check the virtual tours, and then go into documents and see what they've got in their documents. And you can sort of get used to looking for all this stuff. And you're going to see it's frustrating. You know, experienced agents that don't put anything on documents. So you have to call and say, could you send me the PDS? Can you send me this? Can you send me that? But you can see all of the things that make it beneficial for you to sell that listing, and you can go over them and get used to them.
Question about that. If I'm uploading my documents for a listing in through Command into the MC, does that then somehow magically make its way into?
No, Paragon is the first hit, right? So you have to go into Paragon. You can send.
So I have to load things twice. I have to put them into Command, and then I also have to load them into Paragon. How does that make sense?
You have, because Paragon is their own identity. So, but
Yeah,
you can,
NSAR isn't KW, right?
yeah. So with Paragon, when you're sending in your listings, did you just send it into listings at KW, or did you?
No, I went into Command and I uploaded my documents to MC.
Okay, so what you should do is when you send in your listing, send those documents in as well, and they will upload them into documents for you.
I'm sorry. So when I go into Command, when I go into
So the very first thing when you get a listing, it has to go into Paragon. And that's what you do when you're sending something to Jessica or Sharon at listings.kw.com, and they upload it into Paragon for you. So
even if it's exclusive or no?
But that is sent through Market Center, isn't it, on our Command?
Apparently not.
No?
Not yet, I don't think. Maybe I could be wrong with this, but.
I thought everything was sent through Command.
That's what I thought too.
I don't know if they're doing everybody's, because not everybody's in, but the new agents would probably go in that way. So yes.
Okay, so who do I check with to make sure? Because I've got that one listing that's an exclusive, but I should be uploading.
Jessica.
I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to do.
Jessica.
So now I'm thinking
Jessica
I haven't
is
done.
your listing person.
Okay, so I'll reach out to Jessica and ask her. Okay.
Well, that's who you send the listing to, right?
Okay, even if it's an exclusive, I still send her.
It says
Okay.
exclusive on it, so they know that.
Yeah. Okay, but I have been sending it through Command, and Jessica was sending me tasks.
Okay.
I'm going to double check with her and just see, because I don't like the idea of having to upload and then go back and upload somewhere else again. Like,
No.
I don't have time in my life for that.
I could be talking about our agents that are still doing it the old way.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, I'll find out and I'll let you
I'll
know.
be quiet about it. I learned on the weekend. It's been a long time since I've sold.
Yeah,
real
and technology changes. Let us know, Sherry, what you end up
I
finding.
will. Yeah. I'll
Mm.
circle back with what
Ask
I
Jeff.
find
Yeah,
out.
that'd be great.
And I'm gonna go through that process with Michelle, with Dennis on Monday as well. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
Mm.
And
All my listings are holed up until lockdown's over. It's like, oh.
What was that, Laura Lee?
That's exactly what's happened with the listings last year at this time. And COVID is not great for that, unfortunately. And we just have to get everything under control.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I've got to jump.
Me too. So
Yeah, I'm running late now, but that's okay.
Laura Lee, can I ask
Okay.
you one more question?
yeah,
I've got a commercial residential property that I have a client in Alberta that they want me to go see it. Am I able to drive down to that? It's about 45 minutes from Halifax
Sure.
for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And just do a video show.
get lots of help with Anne
Okay,
because she's our commercial broker. So it
Right.
is very different. A couple of things that you can do. So you have the buyer.
Yeah.
One of the things you can do too is work with one of our commercial advisors. So
Paul Pettipaw.
Paul would be great.
Okay,
Um,
like Paul, I've
Randy
already
Price.
connected on some other things. But, and he said to me, he wouldn't want any of my commission, which was nice of him.
Okay.
And Tina doesn't know anything about it. But Anthony was very good at telling me a few things. He's the listing agent on it, which is really nice. So our listing agent is KW as well.
Anthony Carter?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's helpful as well. But anyway, so I've already got a non-disclosure signed, and I got a non-disclosure signed in that, then I've got the financials sent to my client to go over, because I said, there's no point in me going to see something that you don't end up wanting. So they're at that step now. And then if they're good after I've connected them to an accountant down here and everything. So if that goes ahead today, I'll try to get a showing scheduled for the weekend and then go
Perfect.
from there.
Yeah.
Then I heard a lawyer needs to put the offer in, right?
No. So
Anthony just told me, because we're buying an asset sale, they're buying the assets with the business as turnkey, that we need a lawyer to put the offer in. I can't do it.
the lawyer is going to be involved. Talk to Paul.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's
All right.
agents out there that it's better to make sure that it's done properly because your name ends up on it.
Right.
So the control over what's happening is important too. But
Mhm.
Paul can walk you through it. Lawyers are involved right from the beginning. Some agents honestly just put a letter of intent out and then let the lawyers run with it after that. So
Okay.
I don't know the property that it is and stuff like that. So show all of that to Paul and or ask Anne about it. But
Okay.
make sure the lawyers are very involved and make sure that you've got help, because this is going to be out of your
Out of my regular thing, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I'm excited about it.
Good luck, Joe. That's
Thanks.
amazing.
I've only done, I've done smaller, like, a store at the bottom of a duplex or something like that.
Well, that's kind of like, this is a house with a convenience store and a deli. And and it's all the assets, right? So it's similar.
Yeah, Chad just did, well, not just, a couple of years ago, did one right out in our place and they did really well with it. I did in an apartment building, and honestly, the very last thing I said was, I am never doing this again. It's very different. There's no emotion to it. It's all cutthroat and I'm not good with it.
I really like my clients. I feel close to them already. They're very nice people.
And they just sold their house for 800,000. So they're really good clients. They still have their buildings, but honestly, if they called and I was still selling it, it'd be like, yeah, go talk to him. It was different. I had we ended up getting called in for a meeting, and of course, the lawyer said something about a clause that I had written, and he threw me under the bus. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him and I thought, hang on, I sent you this clause to approve it. And you just a second. When I went through my file, here is your response. And it was, yes, this is perfectly written, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. Back at you.
Yeah. And then he sat there and he says, oh, I think the problem was you sent it to me on legal paper. I said, well, what's the problem with legal paper? He says, you know, it cost me $500 more to have legal paper in the printer. You're a lawyer. The word legal paper.
That's bad business acumen. You just don't do that to somebody anyway.
My clients just looked at me like, oh, I'm liking the way you deal with things.
That's right. That's right.
Because it was.
Laura Lee, I just wanted to stay on just to say that the reason why I came to KW was a big part of the springboard to start off, because that's what I want for my business moving forward. And it's exceeded my expectations. And the fact that the information was there, the group, like Joanne knows, all the way back Wednesday night with Chad. Like, I'm not an emotional person, but my eyes well up because I'm really excited about my future.
Yep.
And I feel 100% in the right place with the right people. And I do spend time and I bang my head and I'm like, oh, when I could just call someone.
That for the rest of your career.
I've got to stop that and I've got to reach out to the support. And anyway, it's there. So thank you for making that available.
Perfect. Thank you.
And continue.
You're gonna rock this, Jen. Just
And you
get
are.
at it now.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I did this when I was younger. I tried to, and my husband didn't support me, and I should have. And
That's
then I
hard.
just left it.
Really
But the
hard.
magazines brought me back to it because I did the real estate. I do the real estate section every friggin' month.
So why
So
not?
doing it, I'm looking at it every month for 3 areas, and I'm like, I need to be doing this.
Right? Yeah, looking forward to working with you, Joanne. It's nice
Yeah,
to
you
see
too.
kids, you know?
I
You guys
really am.
Like you
Yeah.
guys are not the same level. It's very cool to see what you guys are going
I'm
to.
so freaking excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I love this. And
Nervous, excited. I had a dream last night that I hadn't gotten paid in 6 months, and I don't have dreams, and I'm like, this is really real. But you know, so nervous, excited. Like, I think all those things create the journey, and that's just where I'm at.
Take you 6 months.
Yeah.
And one of the things one of my coaches told me way back is don't ever lose that. So if you're doing something or the business is changing your attitude towards real estate, change what you're doing.
Right.
Not
Right.
out real estate, just focus your business the way you will enjoy it, and you'll be
Right.
marvelous at it.
Yes,
Like that's the one thing that's equal with all mega agents is they love this business. So it's their passion, but there will be things you don't like. There will be clients
know.
you don't
Yeah.
like, and
That's right.
move your business to where you really love doing it. Okay.
Perfect. Thanks, Laura Lee.
I have to go, but I'll talk to you soon. Take care,
Happy
guys.
Friday,
thank you,
girls.
Laura Lee. It was great.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank
Jen.
you. Yeah.
Jen, do you know up in Weebly, almost every
Yeah.
video you're on the picture?
Oh my gosh. I try not to talk first now.
No, it's because you're so beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
You're
See you,
welcome.
ladies.
See you.